When I try to describe my landscape photography style, I vary between the wide-angle vista scenes over the telephoto vista landscapes, where it's all about the epic grandiosity of the world around us with emphasis on dramatic light, conditions, scale, contrasts, and color, inspired by my life with fantasy gaming, movies, books, and TV series like World of Warcraft, Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones, and Dragonlance, to the beautiful fairy tale scenes from atmospheric forests that inspires wonders and mystery. And then there, in the back of my head, as a Dane, I have this Scandinavian minimalist influence. To me, this means embracing a visual pause, shifting from the grandiosity of the fantastic to even cleaner compositions and the intentional use of negative space. While my other work thrives on drama and filling the frame with landscape information, this side of my style has a more graphic and calm approach where less is more. Contrary to the classic visual design expression of Nordic minimalism, which is generally known for warm, earthy, and light tones, my approach to minimalism can still be contrasty, dark, and even melancholic. No matter if you are to one or the other style, or even something third, if you love minimalist photography, this video is for you. So here are 7 steps to make minimalist nature photography. A misconception is that you need a specific lens, a specific focal length to make minimalist landscape photos. The truth is that it's relatively gear independent. A wide-angle lens can create minimalism by making a subject look small against a massive sky, while a long telephoto lens is perfect for snipping a single pattern or lone tree out of a messy vista landscape. However, there are 3 tools that I consider important if you want to do minimalist landscape photography. 1, you want a sturdy tripod for precision. You can get a drone for those graphic top-down angles and a much freer approach to composition. And ND filters. ND filters are your eraser. They allow you to blur moving water or clouds, stripping away the texture of chaos to leave behind a clean, flat surface. So once you have your gear, it's on to step 2. Firstly, in minimalism, what you leave out of the frame is just as important as what you leave in. I look for simplicity. 1, 2, or maybe 3 very clear subjects. Anything more and the visual pause is lost. Lone trees, a boat on a fjord, a person walking on a beach, a group of swans on an atmospheric morning lake, old fishing boats on a snow-covered beach, or a lone church in a vast landscape. Secondly, use negative space. Think of negative space not as empty space, but as a structural element that supports your subject. A great example is this shot of Mount Fuji. Instead of showing the entire lake and the surrounding land, I isolated the peak, used the reeds as a secondary anchor, and then brought in a massive amount of sky. The sky gives the mountain room to breathe, but also draws your attention down to the mountain. And step 3, where to photograph. Very simple, where simplicity lives. You can find and make minimalist scenes in most landscapes, but there are some landscapes that generally does better when it comes to simplicity. One of them are rural areas. Look for tilled fields or rolling hills where the landscape repeats itself. Rural landscapes are also great because of the often empty vistas with few and spread out elements. The texture of the crops makes for fantastic negative space where you can make big swaths of your photos simple and uniform. And then there are the patterns where you can photograph the interplay of the different fields and isolate colors and texture in abstract photos. Sea areas are also naturally minimalist. Look for lone objects here, a shipwreck, a dead tree, or this infinite bridge leading you around the photo and onto the person. On a calm day, the horizon line becomes a simple geometric stroke, and you can capture the most gorgeous reflections. Reflections are naturally soothing as they create order, humans love order, and because they simplify the scenes. Try to capture reflections of the backgrounds, your subjects, and the sky. And most of us actually do have access to these kind of scenes locally. If you struggle with composition and landscape photography, be sure to get my ebook on that topic. In these ebooks I cover topics like visual flow, depth, scale, negative space, focal length, perspective compression, where to place your subjects, whether to photograph in vertical or horizontal format, and much more. With minimal text and tons of examples, they're super easy to read. I've added extended EXIF data to all the photos so you can see exactly how I took the photos. You can get the free light versions by signing up to my newsletter, and you can get the full versions either standalone or bundled up with my ebook About Light in Landscape Photography for a small discount. There are links to everything down in the description of the video, and with that, on to step 4 and the conditions to seek out and photograph minimalist scenes in. So, as mentioned, calm days. These give you reflections, turning the water into a mirror that doubles your symmetry. However, you can also go out on foggy days. This is the ultimate cleaner. It creates a high-key background that physically hides the clutter of the background and gives you the opportunity to introduce depth into your minimalist frames as the different elements are separated throughout the scene. Snow-covered landscapes are a gift. They turn the world into a canvas, especially in big, wide open areas. Snow is the element that can clean the foregrounds and really bring attention to your subject. Just make sure you get enough snow to cover unwanted clutter. If in a snow-covered landscape, you can usually photograph throughout the day. The clean blue sky makes for a beautiful and simple backdrop, and the interplay of the direct light and your subject creates some beautiful shadows. Here's an example where I used a drone over snow-covered fields divided by a road with trees on either side. The shadows of the trees created some beautiful hard graphic lines against the white, where it for a moment looks like the shadows are the trees growing on the field. And do not underestimate moody conditions. Dramatic and texture-rich clouds in the sky can further the feeling of isolation, and unruly water can simplify the scene even more than a reflection if handled properly. And with step 5, it's where technique meets the vision. When I find a subject like this shipwreck or this dead tree, I almost always reach for my ND filters. By using long exposures, I can turn choppy water into silky ethereal mist. This removes the noise of the water and forces the viewer to look only at the subject. Furthermore, the ethereal atmosphere of the long exposure creates this unreal and fascinating effect that draws you in and makes you a bit unsure about what's going on, a sense of mystery. To create this kind of water, I usually use either a 6-stop or a 10-stop filter and an exposure time between 30 and 2 minutes. And this is of course also where the tripod comes in, because you need to hold the camera still while you expose. And with the drone, you can fly around the landscape, and because it can fly and move in 3D space, you can really finesse the composition and find the completely right angle where all the lines line up. So once you have taken the photos, editing is your final way of cleaning up your composition. I look for distracting elements, a stray twig, clutter on the ground like footprints, or a bright spot, and I remove them. Then I lean into the mood. Even though I think minimalism, I don't always want light and airy. I often push the contrast to either counter a flat foggy scene or make the moody scenes even more dramatic and melancholic. Really bringing out the texture of those dramatic clouds creates so much mood and isolation of the subject. You can also consider converting to black and white. It strips away the distraction of color and leaves you with nothing but the graphic soul of the image. And if you want to learn how to edit your photos while still respecting the light in your scene, my huge post-processing course with 20 plus hours and 30 plus videos of in-depth editing knowledge is for you. In it, I cover techniques from the most basic of actually using the programs over masking, cleaning your photos, focus stacking, dodging and burning, adding and controlling glow and atmosphere, to advanced blending of several exposures with or without using luminosity masking. It really is the best and biggest course on landscape photography post-processing with the most bang for the buck available. You can find a coupon code to get 15% off along with the link down in the description of the video. And step 7, which is something you need to take into consideration whenever you are out in the field, because a completely empty frame can often feel a little bit lost and even boring. If you want to make a minimalist photo a little bit more interesting, you often need to break the uniformity. This is about balance. Take this lone tree. By itself, it's a good subject. I photographed it many times. But by waiting for a single cloud to move into the opposite side of the frame, I created a weight that balances the tree. It's the same with the reflection of this dead tree in the mist and the foreground stone. The stone acts as an anchor, a secondary point of interest that makes the simplicity feel intentional rather than accidental. And with these swans on the atmospheric morning lake, instead of waiting for them to get into a position without reeds in the background, that undeniably would look gorgeous, the reeds here creates both depth, dimension and context. So do not necessarily clone out all elements from a minimalist scene in post-processing. In a world that is usually loud and demanding, minimalist photography is more than just a style. It's a way of seeing. It's about finding that visual pause. Whether you're shooting the epic grandiosity of a mountainous landscape or the quiet silence of a local lake, remember, sometimes less is indeed more. Check out the links down in the description of the video if you want to learn more about light, composition and editing. Now go out and find your own silence or watch this video all about how to avoid ruining your photos.